Turnpike Authority will now come to order. First item on the agenda is public comment. Hearing none, we'll go to the next item, the approval of the minutes of September 20th, 2023. Do I have a motion? Motion by Karen, second by Darrell.
I wasn't not available. I don't have a problem seconding it.
Second, yeah. Discussion, hearing none, all those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the ayes have it. Thank you. Next item is discussion on automated electronic tolling system conversion program.
Yep, I'll take that one.
Okay, Eric.
Good morning, everyone. As you can see out front, we've started the construction of the AET project. Yesterday went better than expected for the traffic impacts, quite frankly. I sat in it, we had a few of our other employees sitting in it so we could track the lay times and start to kind of lay them out by time. And we did the same today. Jeff Wiggin was just saying that we've noticed a slight improvement today. So far, the traffic hadn't made it to the Jamestown Bridge like it did at the same time yesterday. So we're seeing that things are going to hopefully stabilize. Maybe people will compress their schedules or shift them. This task order is related to that. This is for WSP to provide construction administration services for the project duration during construction. You've already approved at last month's meeting pre-authorized $50,000 for them to begin doing the CA services. They have since submitted their final proposal, which we reviewed. The proposal amount is $364,879.08. This includes the initial $50,000. It's not in addition to what's already been previously authorized. We reviewed it. It's complete as far as scope goes and reasonable in fee, and we're recommending approval of this in the amount not to exceed $364,879.08.
Discussion, questions? Hearing none, do I have a motion? Motion by Darrell, seconded by Karen. Further discussion, hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, the ayes have it. Next item on the agenda is automated electronic tolling systems conversion and roadway improvements for the Claiborne Newport Bridge toll plaza.
Yep. I'll take this one as well. This is another related item. So this proposed task order is for construction, inspection, and resident engineering services, which is separate from what WSP is doing. So we chose to select an independent consultant to perform these services. Kevel Enterprises is the one we chose. We interviewed two firms that were local to here. We did not want to, for the duration of the project, incur additional travel and hotel expenses and whatnot. So with local firms, you take that out of the equation. We interviewed two local firms that we thought were qualified for this. One of the local firms that we checked with doesn't have the personnel. As a matter of fact, Director Alvidi has all of the personnel on some of his jobs throughout the state. So they didn't have any staff, and so we moved on to Kevel. Kevel does have somebody that can staff this for the duration of the project. So they submitted a proposal. We reviewed it. The proposals for resident engineering, just so that you know what goes into the magnitude of it. It's fairly simple. There's very little oversight in the office. It's generally calculated by the resident engineer in the field for the number of construction days times an assumed number of hours of work, and that's pretty much 99% of the proposal. And that's what's here. So just to let you know what's in the background, they assumed 60 hours a week of work, and that is just because Lynch could work long days, they could work Saturdays potentially, and we need to have that in the proposal to cover that. So we would have to have the resident here for coverage anytime Lynch is working. That's how they arrived at a total of 4,800 hours for the resident. They will only bill, of course, what they work. If they work a 40-hour week, they don't bill 60 that week. They're just going to bill what they work. So the total for the cash proposal is $725,000. We think that it's a reasonable assumption because we know that we are under crunch time for a lot of the work that we have to do. So Lynch may have to actually work extra hours anyways. So We are recommending the approval of the amount not to exceed $725,000 for Kevel to perform resident engineering and construction inspection services.
And I just want to add that Kevel is a woman-owned business. They're very well known to us. We've worked with them
That's right.
before for many years, and just wanted to note that as well.
Yeah, they've always done great work with us.
I have a question. So is David DeVoe? Is that
Dave DeVoe, that's
Now,
right.
he'll be on, he's the gentleman that'll be here all the time, or he'll have
Yes.
others working with him?
So that could be, if he wasn't available for whatever reason, they
Yeah.
would substitute another resident out of their staff. Yeah,
Yeah.
to cover him. And then if they did that, they would only bill that resident at that rate. So this proposal is based on Dave's rate times the number of hours. If somebody else at a lesser rate comes in, they only bill for that. So, yeah.
All right. Thank you.
Sure.
Other questions, discussion? Do I have a motion to accept as presented?
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Alvidi. Second. Anything else? No? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
The ayes have it. Thank you. Next is the Newport Pell Compression Link Evaluation and Jacking Installation.
Yes, I'll take that one. So last month, I believe it was, is when you authorized additional funds for Aetna based on the current status of the work and the latest estimate of what would be required to complete the evaluation of the PID. This is basically to make Kevel, who is also doing the inspection on that, make them whole for the extra duration of the project. Their initial proposal was based on 2.5 weeks of oversight, but we're estimating that they'll need another 2 weeks on top of that. So they initially were authorized for $15,000 of oversight, and they've submitted a proposal for an additional $13,500. I will note, Lori has already signed off on this. She pre-approved this because it's within her purview to do so, and I told her I would add this to the board so that in full transparency you're aware that this task force has, this amendment has already been approved. We still are recommending that the board approve the additional $13,500 to amend their additional task order for a total not to exceed $28,500.
Thank you.
Sure.
Questions? Hearing none. Go ahead.
Before there's a vote, I just want to note that the video and the photographs that are showing you the compression link project. So that is the subject of this item. Eric,
There's the compression link right there.
that's the work site from the top. That's the
But you
quick
can see all
deck.
the quick deck they've been installing in the stairway that goes up to the top
So,
of the
like,
bridge.
Took the video.
Yeah.
Credit to the videographer and the photographer.
So can I go up there next year?
Yeah,
I was just asking that.
I want to go up.
we'll talk.
Yeah.
This was amazing. This
Man.
stair.
I'm not going that way, but
This is from the catwalk. This is, obviously, these pictures of the compression link project are taken from the catwalk right underneath the deck, and then you saw the pictures of the work site from the very top of the east arch.
I'll go up with Karen.
Yeah, Katie said earlier, she says, it makes you, you wonder how did they used to do it years ago. I said,
Right.
well, OSHA wasn't a thing years ago. They did a lot of things they probably should have done, so.
Wow.
In today's day and age, it's done this way.
All right, thank you. So do I have a motion to accept as presented? Motion by Karen, seconded by Darrell. Discussion. Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the ayes have it. Next item, speeding and other safety issues. You want to take that?
Yes, I will take that. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Director Gennaros had asked the topics of speeding on our bridges and other safety issues be put on the agenda. He is not feeling well this morning and isn't here, so we'll put this over to another month, but we will be talking about the speed studies we've done in the past and what more we can do. We continue to see speeding on the bridges. We partner with the Rhode Island State Police and with local police as well in addressing safety issues on the bridge. So we will have, we'd like to have a more robust discussion about what we're doing to look into what tools are available in the toolbox to address speeding and safety issues out here. So,
Next capital project.
Sure, I'll run through these updates. I've actually shared a few of the updates as we've gone along. Again, we're working out front now with Lynch. Lynch was given a notice to proceed effective Monday. Monday night, they actually put the lane shift in place, and now they're working, some of it is behind the scenes of the people on the main line because they're underneath structure E and doing some other work. But they've started to install the actual steel barrier, which will replace all the barrels. That was just a temporary, you know, get people moved over. Now they're working to put the steel barrier in place that will be there for the long term. The Mount Hope Bridge dehumidification investigation and design will be in the coming few weeks, where we'll be putting the cable airflow test bid out on the street, which will give, eventually once they perform that, that will give the consultant all of the rest of the information they need to know how to finish off the design of this project. Compression link work, you're seeing it up on the monitor. We should be, the latest estimate from Aetna is that in about a week, well, they'll be out here next week doing some of this, but they should be, by the end of the week, being able to install the jacking, which will help support the compression link and allow us to remove the nut that's on the pin and take a look at everything. They do anticipate that we're going to need to move the median barrier one of the days next week to install a very large bracket up on the tower that gets bolted to it. They need a crane that's large enough that will require us to do another median barrier shift. We'll have to put out another press release, and we'll coordinate with Lynch so that when we have people in the one lane, we'll just keep them in that lane. They'll shift over, get past that work site, and then they'll be able to fan out the 2 lanes further up on the bridge, which should have zero impact on the delay here. Once they're in the lane, they just move at a constant speed. So we'll coordinate on that one in the coming days. And then a quick update, we had a call with Atkins yesterday on the safety measures feasibility study for all of our 4 major bridges now, 2 separate task orders. On the initial one, which was Mount Hope Bridge and Jamestown Horizontal Bridge, they're doing a deep analysis of essentially 2 different barrier options for each of the bridges that were identified as the ones that we wanted to move forward and study further. On the Newport Bridge and Sakana River Bridge, that is really just getting started, but we have coordinated a site visit next week where Atkins will come out over the course of 2 days, do a detailed walk of the bridge on the outside and the inside where they can, and then they'll be able to move forward with that. And then just very quickly on load ratings and inspections, Jacobs Engineering, who was already awarded the inspection of the approach spans and the main spans, they'll be doing the approach spans of Newport Bridge coming up in the next couple of weeks. They're going to start, and they'll have a presence on the bridge. We're coordinating closely with them. We had a meeting yesterday to discuss where they will be and when they will be in the areas because of the amount of activity going on in the area. But they need to get the bridge inspected as well to meet the federal highway deadline. Structure E, they already did that inspection. They're working on the report on that. And that's... Oh, yes, thank you. That's right. So the pier in Tiverton that had the sinkhole, that work was completed by D'Amber, it's all done. And then the roof at Mount Hope at the administration building that we have over there, it has been completed. That was the asbestos abatement and then redo of the flat portion of the roof. It also included some additional fascia boards that were rotted and replacement of the gutters. Those 2 small projects are completed.
Chair?
Yes, sir.
Eric and Lori, I'd really like to commend the agency on the way that you monitor and report out on the projects. This is great. I can see that the performance here has been much improved too over the last several years in terms of your on time, on budget completion of projects. So I just wanted to say, as one board member, I really appreciate this kind of reporting.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Larry. Any further comment? Okay, financial reports?
Sure. This is for August year-to-date financial statement notes. Total revenue exceeded budget by $1.1 million. Total revenue was higher by $1.1 million, primarily due to increased vehicles and a higher revenue per vehicle metric. Surprisingly, gas tax revenue was also higher by $20,000. Operating expenses were higher by $3,000. However, a reclass was done in September of $163,000. That takes an expense related to the safety barrier study, and it reclasses it from operating expenses down to non-operating expenses. So really, we're about $160,000 better than budget August year to date. Personnel expenses were lowered by $200,000, primarily due to open positions. Utilities were lowered by $14,000, primarily due to the credits for the net metering. When I did the budget, I assumed all the credits that we would get from the city of Providence, that we consume those by year end. And we had about $6,000 or $7,000 that was not consumed that were now consumed in July, August, and a little bit in September. And as you do know, we entered into a new agreement with them, and those credits should hit in the December timeframe. So we'll enjoy that benefit for the next, 12 months after that, and the impact is about $30,000 to the budget. So contractual services were lower by $7,000, and that was primarily due to the timing of booking of the audit fees, so that will change once we get September. Other supplies and expenses were lower by $25,000. And again, when we start to look at our July and August, some of our expenses get coded into incorrect locations because it's not until we can actually close out our fiscal year end can we actually see how those are hit on our financial statements. So it's mostly a timing issue, and these things you'll see in September that it's a little bit more consistent. Insurance is lower by $40,000. That's primarily due to the August 1st insurance renewals that came in better than budget. Repairs and maintenance were higher by $178,000. This is where the expense for the safety barrier studies was booked, and again, in September, that's being reclassed out of that account down into non-operating expenses. And finally, bridge inspections were higher by $98,000. That was primarily due to the assumption that the crack monitoring that's at the Jamestown Verrazano Bridge, that was to be completed by fiscal year end last year, and it carried on into July and August. Although I can tell you that I had a little cushion in that line item of about $50,000 for the rest of the year, so we'll see that variance come down. And that's it.
Thank you, Jeff. Questions? Thank you.
Sure.
Next.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. On the Executive Director's report, we've already had discussion of the Plaza Road design work. All I would add to what Eric has already pointed out from yesterday's first experience with this new road design work is that the morning commuters seemed to do a better job at zipper merging than the afternoon commuters. We are thinking that may be because we had better signage on the Jamestown side than we did on the Newport side. So Director Alviti will probably be speaking to you to see if you can help us out and let us put some signage there, because the VMS signs over here were very clear and said use both lanes to merge point. We didn't have the same signage on this side because it's the bridge. So and what we also noticed is that some motorists are straddling the line so as to keep people from using both lanes. So we want to point out that you shouldn't be doing that. You should be allowing everyone to use both.
That was the biggest culprit yesterday, and with this thing what happened, we were watching the cameras, and at one point we even saw a school bus doing it, straddling the two lanes, and the effect it had, it still wasn't terrible really on the bridge. It got up and over the crest of the bridge. I think it went back to the east tower at one point, but really it was at that point in time, it was a majority of it was just because everyone was in one lane because people were blocking people from funneling up into the left lane. So
I think if you put, like Laurie said, put better signage up there, that both lanes are, you can use both lanes.
yeah, right.
And I think people aren't aware of that.
Right. They behaved very well yesterday morning.
I'll have our maintenance division and the project managers for that project get in touch with you.
Thank you.
And we'll get some signage up for you.
Perfect.
Okay.
Thank you.
The Easy Pass Hub, I've been promising you and teasing you all, saying that the Easy Pass Hub is going to go live. It's been delayed a little bit again, but the testing took place just recently, and now we have a date in early November when this hub is going to, bring us current with technology so that all the Easy Pass agencies will be sharing data through a hub rather than our exchanging toll files with all the other agencies. I think I've already mentioned that we have a new member in Easy Pass, which is the Gordie Howe Bridge, run by the Windsor-Detroit Bridge Authority, which is a Crown corporation. So that's a sort of an interesting new addition to the Easy Pass system. On federal funding, we recently had another debriefing on one of the submissions that on which we weren't successful. We still have the Protect grant pending. We are finding it a little bit challenging to deal with the federal government's definition of the safety component. So we're going to come at it differently next time, because when they talk safety, they are looking for evidence that we're reducing the number of single vehicular accidents or bicycle accidents or pedestrian accidents, where really the Mount Hope Bridge dehumidification project is focused on keeping that bridge standing and able to carry cars and vehicles over it. So we're going to have to come at the safety component in a different way, and we're prepared to do that. That's pretty much it. The next board meeting is November 15th, 2023.
I have a question. You know the tolling booths that were, what happened to those? Or what's gonna happen?
That whole plaza will just come out, it'll be taken out down to grade. As far as the booths themselves,
Yeah.
they're not original. They came out of what, Texas, I think, or
Yes.
something, so they were replaced at one point anyways. I think a lot of people think that they're still original booths, but they're not, so
No one can use them.
there's really no.
We'll put them on auction, we'll put them on public auction for a
Yeah.
while. Something like that.
Yeah, all right. It's just-
Everybody else is doing what we're doing.
What's
Get
it?
rid of them and putting up on Barry Toes, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
But I would just think, I don't know, maybe somebody can,
Need one for the backyard or anything?
No, but like these clubs or something, they need a booth for a security guard.
Yeah.
Right?
Fairgrounds.
Fairgrounds, yeah.
We've talked about removing the lettering on the canopy and maybe repurposing that somewhere on site, just to keep a piece of the old plaza, around, but
Maybe the people at Bailey's Beach Club need it now.
there you go.
All right. Anything else?
No, motion to close.
Okay, good.
Yeah, I think voting meetings this year, trying to govern maybe closing.